Oh, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have a battlefield set up. I've been asked a few times if I would do a battle report. Now, I've never done a battle report and I've got no editing facilities at the moment. So I fancied having a game, a bit of solo play American Civil War. So I thought, what the heck, let us pull out the camera and let's record it. So the battle report, I'm going to do a couple of turns in each video and we'll take it from there. So this is a hypothetical engagement based on history. So I've set this in 1862 and it's in the lead up to the Antietam campaign. Now historically what happened was the Confederate Army was caught out on the hop. There was the orders of march was left in some cigars, and the Union commander, McClellan, said, if I can't whip Bobby Lee with these commands, I don't deserve to be in charge of an army. So what happened was Longstreet's command had to hold some passes against some Union, giving Jackson's command enough time to come from Harper's Ferry, which they'd successfully invested, and form up at Antietam, where they fought the epic Battle of Antietam, which I do hope to recreate soon. So this battlefield sees McLaw's division, which is on the field, and at the farm we have Kershaw's brigade, and we have 5 battalions there with some artillery on the hill. We have Barksdale's brigade coming up the pike, and in far reserves, they aren't on the table just yet. That's Cobb's brigade ready to come on reinforcing. Then what we have over for the Union is we have Slocum's 1st Division of 6th Corps. So we have Tarbert and Bartlett, and they're going to be coming on at those positions on the first turn. We're going to be dicing to see if Newton comes up this road through the town. And in the far off battlefield we have a flying column, which is a mix of, there's a cavalry unit and some dismounted cavalry there for when they dismount, and infantry as well, and there'll be dice to come on as well. So the Union does have a slight advantage in terms of manpower, but other than the direct assault, the rest of the units are going to be diced for. We're going to give the advantage to the Union to begin with, and they'll be going first. So like I say, I'm just going to be talking through what I'm doing. Rough battle strategy before we get going is obviously the Confederates are going to hold the centre. Barksdale's command is going to push up and hopefully hold these hills against the Union coming, which will give Kershaw's brigade a chance to fully deploy and not worry about the flanks and face off against the Union. Union's going to have push through in the centre. Going to be a simple battering ram with Newton smashing the flank, and hopefully the flying column can turn Kershaw's command in the centre to see if they turn up. When I'm rolling the dice, I'm going to put tiny red dice behind Union troops to represent stamina losses, and when I'm firing or rolling dice for the Union, I'll use the big chunky dice, and then for the Confederacy I'll roll red dice for their shooting, morale, etc., and tiny blue dice for their stamina marking. Occasionally I will be referring back to the rules. I don't quite have an encyclopedic knowledge of the tables just yet. If you know from the rest of my channel, I've been doing a lot of bot action lately, and this is me getting back into Black Power in a big way. And I'm going to be starting a load of Napoleonic content. I'm hosting an umpire in a big game of Napoleonics the end of September. No, October, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so let's get started with the Union Turn 1. So what I'm saying about the two brigades that come up the road is the first two elements, this one and this one, are on the table, whereas the others aren't. The other thing I'm doing is I'm going to be using centimetres instead of inches, and I'm just going to keep all the ranges the same. So let's start off with our first command, Talbot's Brigade, which is this one here. So Talbot's Brigade, I want to advance up the road. We're going to take one movement to get the brigade on fully. Our second brigade, our second order, well, all part of the same order. So advance on, form line. I want 3 regiments in the front, 1 in the back in reserve in line. And then once we've adopted that formation, we will advance on and engage the Confederates firing line. So I'm taking every commander to be leadership 8. I'm also taking all the units to be basic stats, so 3 for shooting, 6 for hand-to-hand combat, 3 stamina each. So what I'm looking at is normally leadership 8. They're in column on the road, which gives them +2, so that takes it to 10. Ideally, I'm looking for 3 or more commands, so I'm looking for a 7 or less. Now what I'm going to do is just see at this position where the dice place to roll the dice, and I've rolled a 5 there, so 4 and a 1. So this first brigade is going to advance, so they get a move, which is going to be 12 centimetres, which will start to bring things on. Now it said to form a line and change formation. Command stands, I'm just going to put to one side as we move. So actually, my command as ordered, I'm going to use all 3 here to bring on. So the first one brings on. Now we're going to have to form line. So I haven't had as much as I've wanted in terms of movement. I'm still getting used to centimetres instead of inches. So these fellas are going to move up. This guy's going to move up, and then they're going to, oh, the artillery would come up as well. Now I didn't give the artillery any specific orders, and we did say we're going to form a line. So these guys are going to shake out in line. Pretty much had enough actually looking at it. I'm not going to be able to get the 3 line that I said, so I'm going to push out for a 2 line with 2 in reserve. Put the artillery in the middle. 3 moves would have comfortably got that brigade formed. Did say that everybody was to form line as well, so I'll push these guys into line. Now for my second brigade, coming up the road, Bartlett's. This isn't ideal. These guys are taking up a lot of space, so what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 units on the right, form line there, the artillery to move on the hill. This unit will move up and over the hill. Turning and stuff doesn't really matter until you come within 12 inches of the enemy. So what we want is first units getting up here, 1 move, probably 2 moves to get past the hill, change formation. These 2 to come over the brow of the hill, change formation, and the battery to form on the hills and start laying down some firepower. So I've rolled an 11, which is far higher than the command of the brigade, so they don't do anything. They would be on leadership 8 plus 1 cost from column 9. I am going to use the army commanders, Slocum's, reroll, and he's got an 11 again, so this brigade is not in a great place. I'm not going to dice to see if these fellas come on this turn. They'll start from next turn, and they'll be dicing from next turn as well. So not a great turn for a Union. Bit of a tardy form up, and we're far too far away at 24 inches for fire. So let us go over to the Confederate side. Confederate Turn One. So the Confederates, the brigade, Kershaw's brigade, at the farm, they're going to hold positions. I quite like the positions I've got set up. Now, Barksdale's command, we're going to move full pelt, and we want to start forming a battle line on this hill here. The idea is this hill will stop the Union taking advantage of that road, which will enable this unit to spin around in a formation. But I'm not going to order that until we've got these guys sorted out. So again, this brigade leadership 8 plus 2 because in column on road, so 10s for the dice roll. Where would be the best place to roll this dice? And we've got a 7, so we've got 3 moves, which are going to give my lead elements a whopping 36 centimetre move. And the artillery. The army commander is McClaw is going to move that way as well. So we have some shooting, or do we? So regular artillery is a 48 range, nothing in range, and in their firepower is not going to be in range. So turn 1 is complete. So the Union have a brigade formed for an attack, and the Confederacy have a brigade moving up to take the objectives. Let's see what happens on turn 2. So what I do with reserves is troops on the field will get their orders before I roll for reserves. So Talbot's brigade advance forward to form a firing line here, bringing you to within 12. I want a gap in the middle so the battery can deploy approximately here with 2 battalions in reserve. So we've now just got a leadership of 8. We've rolled an 8, so we have 1 move. I don't want to use the army reroll because I really want to do something with these, so we're going to take 1 move forward, which will bring us in range. Artillery have the artillery moved up in limber, so they can't fire this turn. The next turn they'll be able to deploy, and we will at least get some firepower going. So what we can now do is command these fellas. So we're going to go the same order as before. We're going to throw up some attack here on the hill and artillery on the hill. Let's roll the dice, see what we get. We get 6, which our leadership would be 9, so we've got our 3 moves that we need. So 224 would get us to there. And again, we're going to run out of space again. 24 probably need the full 12 to get ourselves in position. Actually no, because we'd start taking firepower, so pull that back a bit. The artillery up the hill, 1, 2 moves, deploy. So the artillery is deployed, and these troops will be pushing their way up the hill. Move my commanders. Army commander is going to kind of over here. He's got a 12-inch command bubble, so therefore we're in range. Now, do my troops on this flank turn up? So I'm going to say 5 or 6 for them this turn, then 4, 5 or 6. And over on this flank it's going to be a 6. So I roll my dice and it is a 6. So this brigade, Newton's brigade, has arrived, and we're going to push. We're going to push 3 moves to form a line, and again I want 3 forward, 1 in reserve, with artillery able to pour fire on that hill. We want an approximate line here. So I've rolled a 6. Of course, we're column on road, that is good for us. So if we an advancing column ready to form lines, so we're looking at lead column. We'll push out to here. Play myself, so I'm not being too precise with the distances we move. As long as it looks or feels right, that's alright. And my artillery, well, my battle line, because I feel we are going to be fighting here, my battle line is going to be formed here, so I'm getting my artillery here, so I can open up and maybe even get some shots in at the side. Artillery have a 36-inch range. We're 18 inches plus 18 inches and deploy. So we'll get a battery deployed here as well. Command and move up. And does my flying brigade move? Flying brigade moving. Again, I said a 6 for those fellas, and I've got a 3, so they haven't. So let's get some firing going. Have we got anything in range? 48 from artillery. Just in range. Long range artillery is hitting on a 6. And we've got a 6. Can the Confederates save it? And they're doing a 5. And again, the artillery on a hill. Checking the range. That's long range as well, so it's a hit. And the Confederates don't save it. And take a stamina marker. And that, shooting as well. So we are within range, we're not within close range. So 3 dice. It's normally 4, 5, 6s to hit. I am giving these hard at the hit, so it's going to be 5s or 6s to hit. 2 hits on the Confederate unit. 1 save. 1 stamina. And this unit here is in range. Again, 5s or 6s to hit. So that's 3 hits, and that is a disordered unit on a 6. Can't remember if the artillery was a hit or not on a 6, but we've got 3 saves to make, and we've got a 1, a 3, and a 4, so that's 2 stamina markings. That's not great for what wants to be my flank defence. Pretty good turn. Now, of course, no excess casualties, nothing caused by no break tests or excess hits or shaken or suffering artillery casualties by closing fire, etc. So nothing to worry about there. Now I'm just going to double check my artillery ranges. It has been a while since I've fired some cannons in anger. Probably sat there at home thinking, I know what it is. Yeah, smooth bore artillery 48. Do apologise. Rifle foot artillery 60 inches. So what we're looking at when we're firing artillery, 60 inches, so medium range up to half will be 30, you get 2 dice, and over within short range up to 6 is 3 dice. So I'll probably shortchange the Union artillery there, but it's at the end of the world because we did the same for the Confederates in turn 1. So that is the end of the Union for turn 2, and the Union attack is starting to come in mass in the side. And we have 3 units, 3 battalions with 1 in reserve ready to engage this hill. Let's hope the Confederates can get on that hill before the Union starts pressing them. So Union turn. Let's see if the big Union turn. Confederate turn 2. So let's see if the big Confederate unit do reserves last, like I've just said. So what is my unit in the front going to do? You know what, we're quite happy with Kershaw's defence of the farm there. One of the things I might consider is pulling those units and swapping them around front to back so they can start healing some of that stamina losses. But actually 1 stamina loss each, that's okay. Bit worried about the unit which is on the flank. This unit here, that's not in a great spot, but what I'm hoping is this brigade will form up kind of around here and be able to hold the hill back against the Union, and in which case that'll be less of an issue. In fact, what I am going to do is order this unit to move here, and that way I can at least, if that rallies and isn't disordered, etc., I can pull that back. So that is my first command. So the enemy isn't within 12, so we're just looking for an 8 to move this unit behind there in support. And I've rolled a 10. Sadly my general's over here, so there's no reroll. So this command, I want the brigade to advance and occupy this hill. We're going to put this battalion to march here and deploy there. This battalion to here. This battalion in reserve for now. The artillery brigade to set up here and pour fire onto them. So I'm looking at needing 2 moves and 1 to deploy. So we're looking at 8 as a command, plus 1 because they're a march column. So it's 9. So I'm looking at 6s or less. I've rolled a 9, which gives us 1 move. I'm going to use my army commander's roll. And I've rolled a 9 again, which gives us 1 move. So the Confederates haven't managed to get up to the hill where they needed to be. And 18 for the guns. So we've now got to see if my reserves turn up. So we're going to say these guys are going to turn up on a 6 this turn. And I've got 5 close. But no cigar, as they say. So shooting over here, we will have both units pour fire into this Union unit. So forced to hit, Union out in the open, so 2 hits. Union morale saves, both saves. Second unit pour fire into them. We have 2 hits, a 5, a 4 and a 1. 2 morale saves, and we have 1 going through, so the Union has a stamina loss. Not a great exchange of fire considering the Union is dug in the Confederate is dug in behind the fences. 24 inches. Yeah, because of the way they deployed, the firepower wouldn't be hitting any of those. So the artillery is long range, and it is going to pour 1 dice worth of fire into the Union there. And it's a hit, and it's a 6, which is going to disorder the Union troops. We're going to take a morale save for the Union, and it's a morale save, but that unit is disordered, which isn't a great place to be. So that's the end of the Confederate Turn 2. The battle lines are starting to form up, casualties are starting to take shape, and look forward to seeing you for part 2.